Good afternoon, everybody, and let's play pinball. And as you can see, it's been a down goes Fraser day, and just a quick recap of one or two things that happened. So we know the IC Whale bought an iron condor instead of selling an iron condor yesterday after we had a narrow range day. After two narrow days, he buys around a 35 delta. Paid about $3 to make five. The put debit spread part of the trade was 640, 635. That's deep in the money. He makes his money and goes home. And I predict he will be there tomorrow with a regular iron condor. I think because today is an outside day. He might wait for a second outside day. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Anyway, but what happened was, okay, once we broke below that 40-35 level, then there was nothing much below us, which we talked about in the morning. Now, I want to show you one other thing. Here's what I want to show you. What we're looking at right here is VIX, expiring tomorrow. Look here at 15 calls in VIX. There was 13,000 in open interest. There were 37,000 traded today. So that's not people closing out their calls. Well, that's a put spread closing. That's not people closing out their calls. That's people buying. They bought the 15, sold the 15 and a half, around 30,000 contracts at the beginning of the day for around 17 cents. And that trade is worth now 38 cents for more than a double. And then some stuff came in up here at 16. I think it was flies. I did some flies. I also bought that vertical. I'm not showing you this to show you how smart I am. I did it tiny. I'm showing you to show that once this happened and VIX got over 15 and we were stuck in this, remember market makers hedge VIX like anything else. And so now they have to be buying VIX futures as Z's charm up to a 1 delta. And that's why we see VIX at 1566. And so then the VIX spilling over is what caused a lot of this stuff. Okay, so another put spread close to 10 cents. Okay, we're not going to look at this stuff. Let's just go to the videotape. Okay, so with that said, let's do this and let's play pinball. So we pretty much hit the 6,400, maybe to the penny. I don't know. Looks like pretty close. And we've been consolidating in this range for the last hour. 5605. I mean, excuse me, 6405. What's going on in 6405, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. 6405. We have, hard for me to see the number. Okay, we have 15,000 puts sold here. We have 15,000 roughly bought. We have a 5-wide put debit spread, put credit spread over here. And that's been pulling us down. Now, why didn't we get a bounce? If this was just naked, so to speak, we would have gotten a king-size bounce on the way down. So why didn't we get a big bounce on the way down over here? I'm glad that you asked. So let's look at it a few different ways. Let's first look at it this way. Well, what's the delta on that? That's about a 18 delta. That's a pretty big delta. So that's what market makers are exposed to here right now with this. So now this distance between this kind of gets a little wider and more significant. And that's what's being that's what they have to hedge out on this 5 wide. Now that we're above here, the path of least resistance seems to be up. Now the other part of the, or we could easily pin at the 05. We could easily pin at the 05, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. The other thing that's going on is as IV increases, and let me see how let me try to word it correctly. As IV increases, the effect spreads wider as the volatility of the strikes increases. So what was a 30 delta becomes a 35 or 40 delta, and volatility increasing is kind of having the same effect as increasing time. And long story short, we don't get the sharp bounces. Spreading effect. Volatility makes previously seemed irrelevant strikes relevant. Strikes that were a 7 delta or a 10 delta suddenly become a 15 or 20 delta just by the increase in volatility, even if we don't move spot. And so that's part of what happened here today. All right, so let's see where we're going to pin. And if people are there in the chat on Twitter or on YouTube, say hello. We got some pinball players. And let's see. Hold on, I want to show you something else. Also, something else that happened on the way to the pinball. If we go over here, let's see if it's still here. Good evening, says he from England. If we go to the customer side of the table, see this over here, this 6410, 6405, 6410, 6415. Somebody bought a couple of thousand only, called debit spreads when we were down near the bottom. So that also has the effect of pulling us up. Market makers short gamma, they have to buy. Now it's hard to see that over here, although you can. You can see it right here. Assuming they're still there. I think they are, but I don't know. Pin at 06. So let's see. So now let's change to, let's get out of that picture. Let's get out of that picture. Table view. A quick look at the table view. And here, so you see these puts are still here. All this stuff that was sold down here is still here. So this whole cluster has enough to give us a bounce, especially as the IV increased on the way down. As we stall, that gives a buyback. I'm actually surprised it doesn't give a stronger buyback, tell you the truth. Bears had their fun today, yeah. Good afternoon. Let me show comments on the stage. Okay, good afternoon. Okay, so now let's get back to here. Let's get to Charming Charm. So we have the over under '05. If we go over, stay over '05, that has the effect of pushing us up. If we go under, then it pushes us down. Now we pin either right below the '05 or we sneak up through here. And if we can get to the 10, then we have room up to maybe 15. And I don't think there's anything up. That's another put credit spread closed. Thank you. So I want to look at the standard view. Here we are. There's really nothing much on top of us. So over '05, yeah, there's that 10-15 to kind of stop us. And there's the pin right above '05. Like somebody said '06. Who said '06? That's not a bad guesstimate. Because I mean, in theory, it should be '06, '07, or whatever, '04. Should be a point or two above or below this, unless we can get some kind of vol crush. And so this was one I sold in the morning. I said I'd be happy to sell 6,400, and so I put it in. I sold it. Technically, it's a little red. It was very red before, but I'm still okay with it, quote unquote. And then here was a fly that I bought centering on the 35, which was where the IC whale was, where he bought a iron condor instead of selling one. And that's obviously throwing out money because we're not coming back into here. So a call fly like that doesn't look bad. So here's playing for the over. And here, if we get a point over, we're still okay. Of course, if you want to do a 10 wide, but 10 wides are expensive at this time of the day. Even a 5 wide is expensive now. And it was $1.15 when we looked at it 2 minutes ago. Now, as I mentioned in the morning, I'm trying out this unusual whales thing. I don't really see, I mean, it's okay, I suppose. And so as you can see, from a gamma point of view, that's all that's here. All that stuff up here has very little gamma. And from a charm point of view, over here and under here with kind of the pin right here at that '05. I'm not even sure what this stuff is down here. So the first part of the conversation is under or over oh 05. I got one bet for 15. Our resident flow expert. Oh, David, you want to talk about what you did?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
I had some put spreads earlier today that I was taking a pretty decent loss on. So I closed them up out and opened up a put spread centered at 64.05 and managed to recover all of my losses on that put spread. So that's something I learned from Doc. I took some big losses a couple of weeks ago in put spreads also because I didn't know how to react. But learned from Doc what to do and was able to execute that successfully today. Didn't make any money, but didn't lose any either.
Yeah, and I found that using flies, either converting into a fly or rolling into a fly or different ways of doing that, tend to be able to make, forgive a world of pain.
Sure did work. Worked better than I thought it would.
And like you said, you might not walk out with a nice win, but you might walk out with a little win, a little loss. It eases the pain.
That's right. The one thing that I haven't been able to figure out, I haven't gotten that far yet, is there's got to be a ratio. Like, for example, let's say, for example, you've got five put spreads that are 20 wide that you've sold, which is what I had today. And
Hmm.
how many flies do you need to put on at 15 wide in order to be able to offset the difference?
That's a good question. I never systematically worked that out, and I would think that depends on vol.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's a direct formula, but usually, just sort of from my experience, if I put on like half of what I had on
Hmm.
in flies, that usually cushions things a lot.
That would have actually turned me green today if I'd done that. What I did was I cut my losses on my put spreads $2 short of hitting the short strike. So my strikes were at 64.15. I sold them at 64.17. So I was still
Right.
down about $500 or $600, and then I put on that one put fly, and that was enough to offset. So I guess it depends too, you know, how long you wait.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts here. So right now, it looks like 10, right?
Yeah.
Those calls at 10, looks like that's kind of, it looks like we're going to sneak above this, trying to sneak above this. Uh, Now, what's VIX doing? I don't have that over here. Let me go to trading. Sounds like more puts closing. Let's go to trading view. I want to take a quick look what's going on in the volatility world. Now, if you guys have been listening to me, I'm talking about VVIX. I mentioned it on Friday, I think. I mentioned it in my weekend note. I've been talking about it well, I might have left it out this morning. Now, we got a tell in VVIX last week on Wednesday, Thursday. And we got a tell in SKUDEX, which is the 1 cent deviation out of the money. We got a tell in TDEX in the 3 standard deviation, but that's actually slowing down. And so here's the VIX, and 15.5 is, give or take, is likely where we'll pin. And let me see. I don't know if we can do this here. I mean, maybe we can. What the heck is this? What's it? Okay, let's go here. Can we get the VIX contract, the M contract, the one expiring today? No. So let's do this. Because at the end of the day, literally at the open tomorrow, these two have to converge. I forget all this noise. This is an old chart from my TA days. I put all this nonsense on my charts. Let me guess, so you can see what the heck is going on. I guess I keep it almost as a souvenir. Polarity bands and acceleration bands. Okay. On volume, I don't really want to see volume. Sorry. What is the thing for volume? Overlap volume. No. Okay. And so what we see here, as a long as way of showing you, 15.62 on the VIX contract, and we're I can't see the number. We're 0.76 on the VIX options, on the VIX, and these two have to converge. So we'll see what they converge on. And so let's go back to
What do you mean they have to converge?
the settlement price of the VIX futures and the VIX has to be the same.
Okay.
That's like the rule, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't.
One settles on the other.
Oh, gotcha.
The VIX futures contract is a futures contract or a bet with the bookie of where VIX is going to close.
Okay.
So can it sneak through here, and can we make volatility a winner here? I don't know. It's unlikely, but I've seen stranger things happen, especially at the end of the day on Charm. We have 8 minutes, so it's going to take a bit. All of these is volatile to drop a little bit. I think the Bears have kind of unsharpened their claws for now.
Yeah. It's funny. I took my put fly off once I got to a break even point, and that was at 8:10 is where I sold it. And it's at 11:20 now. I should have left it open.
Yeah. I'm guilty as charged. Guilty as charged of that often.
Flies are funny like that. You really got to leave them on to the end of the day.
All right, now we're back under. Oh no. And so we have 6 minutes left. Oh wow. We got somebody putting it under here. We got somebody making this go in the money. But from the customer side of the table, I don't want to start changing. Let's go to this one. From the customer side of the table,
What did they sell? Puts or calls?
where's that?
Those contracts that just came in, they were market maker long, weren't they?
The ones that came in when?
Just didn't you say they didn't just come in?
Well, a little while ago, these are what came in.
Okay.
There's the customer side. 6410, 6415 call. Here, 6410, 6415 call debit spreads. It looks like they're losers. Here we go, back over '05. So it looks like they're going for 99 or, looks like a penny on, a dollar over, a dollar under. And so now a lot of it is going to depend on flow. It's going to depend on it's not the chart I want to see. Where is it? Depth view. Let me. I usually don't use this tab, but let's do it for fun. Let's flow from. We don't want to see it from the 18th. We want to see the flow from today through today. And let's just go. Let's just back it up. I don't know. Last 10, 20 minutes. And let's change it to positions, not. So this isn't what's in the book. This is what the flow was.
Okay.
And when market makers are long, customers sold. So people got out of the 6,400 puts. They were long and they sold them. That's the flow. So whatever was there, there's less of those here, more 05s there, more 10s here. So now we're watching the flow, what's come in.
They just rolled them up to get them in the money, I guess.
I think they got took a profit.
Okay.
Like when did they buy them? We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And so what I really want to show with this is depending on if the flow that comes in the next 2 minutes is calls or puts over here, little cheapies, that's what's gonna win the day. Now we're back over. Oh, we're strongly over, to quote the way our president turns it into a adjective or that an adverb? Strongly. It takes the word strong and turns it into a different part of speech. Well, my English professors tell me if strongly is an adverb, it's an adverb, adjective as in ly. It turns it into an adjective. But it looks like those tens, I guess, no, that's still long tens. If we can get enough people buying the tens, that would be nice. So the 05, 10, 15 would have been a beautiful fly. I think we might have looked at that one. So hold on, let me put, well, we can't have 05. It got to be over or under. I mean, you can, but that's very rare. So far, Samson, or over 05, yeah, over 05, right. Now we have an over or under. And considering we have seconds left, give me 1 second, hold on. Pencils down. 08. I'm sure what's going to settle at. So now we got to watch the IC whale come in. I think he's going to sell. See, this is one that we were looking at before. Eh, $1.80. Well, we don't know what it'll close at because these things close crazy. Would it close? Right above the 10. See that? Right above the 10. Huh. Okay. So let's look at what the IC whale is going to do. So IC whale is probably going to be here if he comes today. Now, I'm going to do my own version. He's probably going to be here. And on the call side, he's probably going to be. He likes to be a little more aggressive than, like, by the book, you should be about a third the width of the spread, maybe half. Depends what side he wants to be aggressive at. We have an expected move of 27 for tomorrow. That's kind of pretty muted considering. But the theory is we should have an inside day tomorrow. So if we sell the 16 delta down here, it could even go a little further. Sell that. Sell that. Not horrible. I'll do one for fun. You guys filled. Although going a third the width of the spread is a little better. These are only a 10 delta. So now let's see what's sitting in the book for tomorrow. Okay, so what's sitting here for tomorrow? Let's get out of flow. Let's just get to net. Uh, okay, no. So we got puts down here at 30. I don't know if there's juice down there. If you want to go wider. And we got calls up here at 80. Siri, stop it. Siri thinks I'm talking to her. I'm not going to make a sexist comment. So we have sold calls up at 80. That's not going to really help much. We have 40, which is a little close. And we have market maker long gamma all the way down, but too close for comfort, right near the money. So we could end up sticky. And the good stuff is down at 30, 63.30. So what's down there? Any juice? Nope. Even if you want to go wider, nope. I mean, you could go 35. You want to do a wide one. Yeah, it could go somewhere in here. 27 is the expected move. Like I said, relatively muted until considering the day we had. Okay, so actually we split the difference between '06 and 15. We kind of landed right in the middle. Add 5 to '06, we get 11. Subtract 5. Actually, volatility was closer by a couple, by maybe a point. And let me see if I can get any intel on if I can't really see the volume here. Let's see if the whale is here. Is the whale's kind of day? Is the whale here? Anybody have a good read on the after the close volume? That's open interest. Let's look at volume here. This comes in a little late, but at least it gives us a clue. And then I gotta go mess with the goats volume. That wouldn't be him. This could be him. This sure well, this could be him. He could be anywhere over here. And do we have companion volume on the bottom? This smells like him, doesn't it? 7K, that sure smells like him. 19 Delta. Could even be him over here somewhere. I think he's here somewhere. And I think I think he's over here somewhere. I think he's somewhere, something like this. I'm just going to put this in for 475, good till cancel, so it won't get filled. And see what we see tomorrow. Ah, here it is. Oh, my boy on the that's the 100 wide. That's a different one. We need a 5 wide that came in the last few minutes or starting to come in. And sometimes we just gotta go to toss and go like this and go like this. Got to minimize 17,003 things. Whoops, no, we don't like that. Go to the trade tab, get SPX on here. Go to time and sales. Series tomorrow. These came in the morning. That's nothing. We want to find stuff that's come in at the end of the day. And we need bigger than this size. Let's make it quantity. Let's start with 10. See if that filters enough. Let's go 50. That should. There we go. Are we seeing anything here? Oh no, now we're getting institutions playing games for nickels. No, no, I can't find them. Volatility, you see them yet? Okay, well, I guess we'll see tomorrow. I'll certainly take a look and see if I can find them. Let's take a last look. Keys, semiconductor equipment maker, software for semiconductor equipment. Was up, now it's down. Okay, let's see if we can see it here. Yeah, so I have this. I might, I might close that. I'll leave it for now. Yeah, 10,000 here at 64.40. I can't tell. Okay, folks, read my note tomorrow. Other than 101, read my note tomorrow, and if we spot him, it'll be on Twitter and it'll be in my note. All right, time to go mess with the goats. Take care, everybody.